It is Saturday, January 26th. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening. I've been working on my greenhouse for a couple hours. Time flies when you're having fun, but my greenhouse was so packed I couldn't hardly reach some of the plants in the back. I just had stacked plants on plants, smaller pots on top of bigger pots, just kind of nestled around, and I still have a little bit of that. But what I've done, and I'm still working on it, but it's fairly warm tonight. They're not in any danger of freezing. But I've added this back section here. There's another 54 inches. It's a cattle panel, 16 feet long, and you can tell it's not as high as my other one. That first part of my greenhouse is the wrought iron decorative arch that I converted. It's about 8 foot tall inside at the peak. So this here is probably 6.5 feet right here, something like that. I zip tied this panel to that arch, and then cut the back wall, the plastic, out of what was my greenhouse previously. I cut it out after I got the cattle panel zip tied where I wanted it. Then I come in and added these boards, and I used some metal strapping and screwed it, and then I put the duct tape on here just to cover the metal strapping, so when I get my plastic on there it won't wear it out. So I still got to put this backside, and I lacked 3 or 4 inches here getting this cover, so I'll make my back lap over. And when I first built this greenhouse, I used duct tape, but duct tape was coming off, and you can't tell it now, but I put the clear packing tape and sealed off this rip. But I'm slowly going around and taking all the duct tape off because it's coming off anyway with the weather. And the clear packing tape seems to really hold a whole lot nicer on this plastic. Let's go back around. This was so crowded I couldn't even get around in here, so I've actually got it where I can walk around either side of my avocado, which still has to command the center of this center of attention in this particular section of the greenhouse. And doesn't look like much life. There's my cayenne pepper. And I'm not going to name all the plants, but you can see I've kind of created a walkway around. There's some little dragon fruit plants. My not dragon fruit, them are jackfruit. This is dragon fruit. Dragon fruit cactus is growing like gangbusters. It's about to reach the top of this 6 foot. It's 6 foot from the bottom of the soil line. This is a big pot here, but from the soil line up, it's about a 6 foot post. So by the time spring gets here, I'll be having to put me a mesh or some kind of basket up there and let it hang over. If you've grown dragon fruit, you know what I'm talking about. So my phone is going crazy, dinging at me. I don't know if that's coming through the video or not. So I've hung up. I had this post, this pole here. I'm gonna be taking down. It's actually a shower curtain rod that I had tied and put some strong zip ties. I had my hanging baskets here, but for right now I'm hanging the baskets, as you can see here, from this arch. And I've moved my little banana back. It's got the center of the back wall, and I've just packed things all around. There's my, look at here, January. Yeah, that's my ghost pepper, yellow ghost pepper. It hasn't slowed down. I think I took 6 or 8 peppers off of that thing today that were ripe. So, see my castor beans down there. But I was able to put this little table sideways for some of my smaller pots and for working off of. So anyways, I just wanted to show y'all. I've got plenty of walking space in here. What I'll probably end up doing before spring actually gets here is some of this is going to be cleared off of this table. And that's going to be my seed starting trays to get ready for gardening. But funny thing I wanted to show, I had these, they're not doing well, these ivies in this pot, in this hanging basket. And I'd gotten the soil out of my garden. Look, volunteer tomato. That thing's already 12, 13 inches tall. And speaking of tomatoes, I don't know if you can see that much with the light right there. These were cherry tomatoes that I, right before they died out in August, I took cuttings, stuck it in here, and they were already a couple feet tall, flowering. Actually had a couple small tomatoes, but I took all that off, chopped it down about half, and I just rooted these back in again. So I have a pot full of tomato cuttings ready to go. Another thing I'm trying in this pot of rosemary cuttings that I'm rooting, I also had trimmed my avocado a little bit, and I don't know if they're going to take, but these little avocado cuttings, I got 5 or 6 of them in here. So you can see, look, brand new leaves. I don't know if you can tell them that, but brand new leaves coming out on it. And that's just been the story all over this avocado tree. It's just put on. I mean, this right here has been since it's been in the greenhouse this winter. You see, there's new growth all over it. Boom, where I trimmed a branch back. So, trimmed a branch back there. The avocado tree's not suffering. I mean, we've got a few brown leaves, but I'm very happy with it. So, when I get this thing finished up, maybe I'll come back in the daylight, give y'all a better view of this greenhouse. It's a mess right now. I've been working on it this evening, and I'm fixed to call it quits till tomorrow. God bless y'all. Y'all have a good evening.